Good day, everybody. I got up today around a little bit after 5. No, actually right before 5 a.m. Just getting used to the time change. And but plus I get up early, so that's just not a good combination. But I was sitting up there for a minute trying to decide if I wanted to try to catch the sunrise. Apparently there's a very nice park nearby, and I was trying to decide. So today it was like, if I make it, I make it. If not, it's still early enough in the day where it's still nice and cool, and we can get to enjoy a nice, cool, peaceful walk. And that's what we're gonna do. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited just to see what it looks like. Not too far from here, actually. It's really good to be able to go to a nice park that's not too far from the house. So, where we're staying now. All right. So we are here at our local park. Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking, I don't know why I wasn't thinking this, but you need cash when you come here, this early in the day. And so he said that if you get a citation, he said just bring it in and then we'll take care of it. So, all right, cool. Now I know. And it was a brother too. There's something. And the thing I like so far, it's cool, at least this time of the day. And there ain't no bugs. If I was in my other woods back east, they would be tearing my behind up right now. Now, unfortunately, I missed the sunrise I saw coming up here, and but I wanted to be up here as the sun was rising. But just missed it. But there'll be other days we'll catch that. Man, well, I tell you, I am loving this. Wow. But this is the time to come out, though. Today is supposed to be 102, and it's something about the weather. I mean, for me at least, it didn't bother me, 102, because again, I could tell the difference between the humidity, when there's a lot of humidity, versus not being a lot of humidity. And it certainly was not a lot of humidity yesterday. Now, don't get me wrong, it was hot, but it was, it was, I was okay with it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, how these people do it. I wasn't feeling that. And I'm not just saying that just to say that. I mean, it just was not, for me, it was hot, but it was doable. But that's at 102, not at 117. So maybe I'll take some pictures coming back. Okay. Now these cacti, they tell you to stay on the trail, but whatever. I just want y'all to see how tall these things are. That's not even a tall one. I mean, that's tall, but ain't it? So I got my other camera with me, my still camera, still in video. So I'll be taking some pictures probably on the way back. Seeing these little holes around here, so I know I got to be careful too. I really don't have my hiking stuff on because that's still in the truck. So I'm just waiting for that. And that's probably why they tell you to make sure you stay on the trail. There'll be a lot of critters out here that will give you a good reminder as to why you should stay on the trail. love to sit there. This will be the best time in the day to sit there. You come here and sitting there 102, 117 degrees, you're gonna be dead. But look at all of this, y'all. And I'm not gonna walk too far on this one. This is just my first foray here. Just kind of see what this park has to offer, just in the initial walk, you know. And just this little bit, I am loving this. I'm so loving this. But just so you know too, yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of filming here, you know. So when we do our talks and things like that, it's gonna be in areas like this. And it's just so nice. Just passed somebody doing some mountain biking. I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a short conversation a little bit. We're going to go to the car. I'm not going to do it out here, but we'll start the conversation here, and then we'll take it on in the car. And what we're going to talk about in this video, we're going to talk about, you know, many people, including myself, have or has used the term when referring to God, or you know, the Most High. You know, a lot of people use the term the Most High. But have you ever wondered where the term the Most High actually came from? Because again, this falls back into what we've been saying, really understanding the origin of things that we say, you know. And you know, if you've been following us on our community page, you know, we've been asking people to define this thing called the awakening. And what people have been saying is, you know, the awakening is, for them, is something that where lies have been uncovered, you know, where they're starting to understand the truth. Truth is being revealed. Well, today we're going to talk about the origins of the Most High. Where did that come from? Where did it really come from? And I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be people that are going to get messed up over it, but truth is truth. And don't worry, like we always do, we're going to give you all the receipts so that you can look at it for yourself. And let me just say this too. This is not to be used in any way, shape, or form to bash people into using that terminology. Not at all. It's just information. And what you choose to do with it at the end of the day, it's pretty much up to you, you know. And like I know for my wife and I, as you learn better, you do better, and you make your course corrections on those things. But today we're going to get down to looking at actual factual history as to where this whole term, this phrase that a lot of people use, the Most High, where did that even come from? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so let's talk about Elyon. Well, before we talk about Elyon, we first got to make sure we understand who El is. Now, if you've been following us on the series that we did, you'll find all the episodes, all the installments of who in the L are you following. You'll find that over on our video page, which is mybondtube.com. That's where we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on there, ranging from documentaries to movies to teachings to news to health issues, all kinds of stuff. And one of the things you'll find is a long series that we've done is called Who in the L Are You Following? And basically is where we have taken a very deep dive and really beginning to understand this thing, that for our family, as at least, again, this is why we call it Journey Man and Woman, because we're on a journey and we're discovering the things that we were in at one point. We're really starting to understand the roots of it because we're taking the time to actually investigate on our own, and that's what we're doing on this platform. And so in that series, we actually go through El, like you may have heard El Shaddai or El Elyon. That's what we're going to talk about today. There's all kinds of L's. Well, in short, because again, that's hours and hours and hours of research. El is basically the Canaanite way of saying God, like we say God, or, and so anytime you see El in the Bible, mentioned in the Bible, it's making reference to a God. Okay, so El means God. Okay, that's a Canaanite way of saying that. Now, for some of you who are listening to this, you may be like, well, wait a minute. Now, that's the Hebrews. They said that. Well, if you take the time, and again, we've gone through this in our series, when you look at ancient Hebrew, much of ancient Hebrew is really made up of a hodgepodge of Ugarit. You also have Phoenician. You also have Canaanite. And so they have kind of borrowed from all these different cultures to make up their own culture that we call Hebrew.
This is the Bible's explanation for the name Yahweh. But there are certain important and unique features of this burning bush dialogue. First, God identifies himself to Moses as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He reveals to Moses a new name, Yahweh, so that Yahwism and the Yahweh cult can be said to begin only with Moses. Exodus 6, verses 2 to 4, very important passage. Exodus 6, verses 2 to 4. And here God says, I am Yahweh. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but I did not make myself known to them by my name, Yahweh. Now this contradicts the J source. And many scholars have suggested that P and E preserve a memory of a time when Israel worshipped the Canaanite god El. P and E wish to claim that the God who covenanted with the patriarchs is the God of the Exodus, but now with a new name. God is 6 times called El Shaddai. Other names are El Elyon, El Olam, El Roi, El Bethel. You can see the translations of these. The everlasting God, God Most High, a God of seeing, the God of the house of God, and so on. El is the name of the chief god in the Canaanite pantheon. It's an important set of texts that were discovered at a place called Ras Shamra. Ras Shamra was ancient Ugarit. In 1928, a peasant in Syria discovered a tomb at Ras Shamra, which was subsequently excavated by the French, and it was found to contain a library of tablets that were written in a language very, very close to Biblical Hebrew. It's clear that Hebrew is simply a Canaanite dialect. In fact, I remember reading one scholar said if you go back far enough, you're really hard-pressed to tell the difference between Canaanite and Hebrew. And in these texts, we read of the exploits of the gods of Canaanite religion. These gods include the sky god El, I've listed here, the father of the various gods and humans. El has a wife, Asherah, she's listed 3rd on your paper, a mother goddess, their daughter Anat, who is a goddess of love and war, she's quite fierce, and then their son Baal, who is a storm god. He's depicted in mythological literature as defeating both the chaotic sea god, the sea god Yam, and the god of death, Mot. There are striking resemblances between the biblical God of the patriarchs and the Canaanite god El. El is the head of the council of gods. He is said to have a long white beard. He dwells on a mountain top in a tent. His epithets include father of all creatures, bull, king. He's also described as the protector of patriarchs, patriarchal figures, a god of the father of the clan, it says in the texts. He guides them, he protects them, he promises them descendants. Many biblical passages depict God exactly this way, as the head of a council of divine beings. He's occasionally described with some of the epithets that are associated with El. He's referred to as the father of all creatures. There are poetic passages in which he is referred to as bull, also certainly as king. And in the patriarchal narratives, God refers to himself as the God of the Father. I am the God of the Father, the same way El is referred to. He guides and protects the patriarchs. He makes promises of progeny to Abraham and his heirs. He also is associated with a mountaintop, Sinai, and gives instructions for the building of a tabernacle, a tent-like structure in which he will dwell. Many personal and place names in the patriarchal narratives are compounds in which one element is El. Yisrael, Yishmael, Beth El. El is the God of the patriarchs. By contrast, after the time of Moses, Israelite names start to be formed using Yah or Yahu as part of the name Yahweh. Elijah in Hebrew is Eliyahu. So you start to have theophorics, names that use a name of a deity, which are using forms of Yahu instead of El.
And this is something, again, like I said, we've talked about this in deep detail, and talking about where El comes from and just Hebrew culture in of itself. And so anyway, so El means God, okay? Now when you get to Elyon, it means supreme God, right? It means supreme God. Some translations will have it, will say the sky God, right? The God of the sky. And that means that all gods are born in and under the sky. So that's where you get Elyon, which means the God of the sky, or the supreme God, or the Most High. That's where that comes from. So when you hear the Most High, that is referring to. When you look at Canaanite, the Parthenon of deities within the Canaanite belief system, they have a whole family of Els, and it starts with Elyon, who's considered the Most High God. He's the highest one, and then under that you have a whole family of Els. Okay, and then off of that there's an offshoot of another family of gods, and that's the Baals. Yes, or Baal. Okay, there's a whole offshoot, a whole family of Baals, and we've actually talked about that in our series as well. So yes, Baal or Baal is a descendant or comes off of the tree of El. That's where it comes from. So yeah, so there you go. So when you say Elyon, you're saying the Most High God, but you're referring to their God, their deity. The Bible mentions Asherah as well, but it's kind of how they present, how they package it. They say Asherah was bad. Well, the reason why they were saying that was because there was a movement over time to become, for Israel or Hebrews, to become from polytheistic, meaning the acknowledgement or worship of other gods, to more of a monotheistic belief system. And this is something that you'll see the struggle go throughout the many years, where it's the struggle between monotheism and polytheism. And so who won out on that one? Well, we can kind of say the monotheistic one won with an asterisk, because when you look in the Bible today, you still see references to these other gods and deities as well, especially when you look in the book of Psalms, and we've talked about that as well. There's scriptures that do make references to other gods or borrow from Sumerian texts and all that other stuff. Okay, so on the screen, what I'll do is, just to make this simple, on the screen, I will put some sources there that you can check out on your own. Wikipedia makes things easy in that if you go to the Wikipedia page for Elyon, it actually gives you references that you can click on, and it will take you where you can research even deeper. And I know I have some people who, as soon as they hear Wikipedia, it's like a switch that goes off in their mind, or a flag goes off and says, you can't trust Wikipedia, you can't trust Wikipedia, because they're always changing stuff. Yes, that's partially true, but Wikipedia does give links to the references to the stuff that they present so that you, the reader, can check out and verify for yourself. So Wikipedia isn't necessarily a bad thing. It really isn't. Instead, it presents the reader the opportunity to do further investigation on your own. But of course, everything I'm saying here isn't based on Wikipedia. You can also go, there are a number of books that are out here that really flesh out or further explains, the history, presents the whole history of Elyon and all of that stuff. There's many books out there, and it's the same thing when because this video that you're watching kind of goes along with the video that we did on the history or the origin of the name Bible. So if you haven't watched that one, I would encourage you to watch that one, because that one, I tell you, if you haven't seen that one, you will be shocked, because again, it shares the same origins that are tied to other deities. So in conclusion, I will say this: what we do on this platform here is simply presenting you with information. Hopefully it's actual, factual, historic information. And everything I've said here is not things I've made up. These are things that can be easily verified for those who are willing to look at on their own. And it's all, the information is out here, and it's been out here. And so, like I said, we're just presenting the information. What we're not doing is going to use this information as a mallet or hammer to go upside people's heads. And anytime we hear someone say the words "the Most High," then we're going to go upside your head and say, "How dare you say that?" and "Don't you dare say that," and all this stuff. No, because what we understand is you're dealing with centuries, centuries of programming that has gone into us, to where this belief, these different things that we've said over a long period of time, has become part of us. So when someone says "the Most High," for example, and then now they hear this information, it's not going to be something that someone can easily pivot away. At times I still say it from time to time, you know what I mean? But now that I know and I understand where this comes from, every day I'm doing the best I can to kind of pivot away from that. Now, also, the other thing I'll add is this, and this is, in our platform, this is why we've spent a whole lot of time really understanding as black folks, descendants of Africa. We spent a great deal of time in understanding that part of our history. Why? Because everything that you find in the Bible, number one, the Bible was a book that was given to you by your oppressors. Now, this seems to be a very hard thing for people to embrace and to accept, but it's true. It's facts. When we came over on slave ships, we did not come over with a Bible. I don't care if people out here saying, well, King James was black and and he was this, or different. It doesn't matter. So you have to get in your minds, why on earth would this oppressor, who's beaten you, raped you, tortured you, separated you from your land, from your heritage, from your history, but when it comes to the Bible, they're going to make sure they perfectly preserve that. That makes absolutely no sense at all. It makes no sense. So by that alone, we must take the time needed to investigate everything that's in that book, everything. And I would go even further and say you must first start off assuming that everything in it is a lie. I'm not saying it is, because, as I said many times before, you cannot tell an effective lie without some truth. So you're going to find a little bit of both in it. And this is something we've said over and over again. So again, for us, this is not something that information you take and you beat people over the head with and say, now you got to, stop saying that word, stop saying that word. Of course, now that hopefully people will take a course correction and do that. But it's going to take some time. I mean, again, you're talking about centuries of programming. that has gone into this. So it's not going to be something that's going to be easy that people can change just simply overnight. No, it doesn't work that way. That certainly hasn't worked that way for us. But the purpose of this video really is to, like all the videos that we've done, is to present you with the information, point you to places where you can go and read for yourself and research on yourself further. And then at the end of the day, you make the decision, you make the choice, and then you just go along with whatever choice that you're going to make. Some people I know will say, well, this is a name I've said the Most High for 20 years and it's done good to me and I'm going to keep on doing it. Well, now you are operating in willing ignorance. I'm just going to tell you, because now that you know the origins of it, but yet you're going to still continue to do the same thing over and over again. That's the same logic as someone saying, I have a car that it has 4 wheels, but only 3 work. But those 3 wheels always got me back and forth to work. So why am I going to change now? That's the same logic. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, so when people talk about an awakening, and they're saying they're being awakened from lies, well, this is one of them. And what I presented to you is that when you say the Most High, now you know the history of where it actually comes from. And it comes from the very people that the Bible says that Israel was supposed to destroy. But in reality, it's still Canaanite, very much Canaanite. And like I said again, I would only encourage you to make the time to look these things up on your own. And then whatever you do from that point on, it's up to you. And that's it. So I hope you got something out of this video. And I hope you really do take care. And, life is a journey, family. And you learn things, you unlearn things, but enjoy the process either way. Okay? Family, we love you very much. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time.